Hey everybody, and welcome to another video here on Living Room Gear Demos. Today we are checking out two products from one of my favorite companies, Ohmless pedals from Germany. We are first going to look at the Ohmless MultiTool for electric guitars, and then we are going to look at this one, which is meant for electric and acoustic guitar. It is a junction box. It's a very handy tool if you have a stereo rig, and this gives you control over basically everything you need to have control over. So if we take a look at the box, we have this button right here, which switches between guitar A and B. This is guitar A and this is guitar B. So in this setup, I have two guitars. I have one Strat going into A and one Les Paul going into B. If you see these two knobs, they turn off and on these preamps that you can control here. This is very useful, especially when you have two guitars with different outputs. So I picked in this demo to use a Strat and a Les Paul, and they have quite a big difference in volume. To even that out in this rig, I can use the preamp to get them to sound more similar. They still have their own characteristics, but they are more equal in volume. So that's a very handy feature. There's a lot to cover here, so let's move on. You can see that I have the bore fuzz here connected to the MultiTool. The reason why this one is separated from the other pedals is because this is an unbuffered loop. This is a buffered loop. The difference is that a buffered loop will help you keep a strong signal through all of your pedals, but as many of you know, fuzz pedals, they are not that happy with buffered signals. So you also have an unbuffered loop to put pedals that are not too crazy about buffers. So that's really handy. And as you can see, I have my fuzz here. These two goes out to my two amps. One amp is my Hampstead Artist 60. The other one goes to my Headrush that I've set up with a simple Princeton amp. No effects on that one, and it's going straight into my interface. So that's the two amps. You can mute them independently if you want to do that. When you are setting up and you want to check just one amp at one time, it's very handy to have these. You can also run both amps in dual mono, but I prefer to do it in stereo. These two have we covered. You have a ground lift, and you can also use this switch to flip this phase if you want to do that. Here we have a tuner out, which means that you can leave your tuner on at all time. That's something that I like to do in my rigs. Then we have the buffered loop with my pedals going into return left and return right. So that's the pedal. I've used something less advanced than this on my pedal board for many years. If you gig a lot, this is something that is very handy to have on your board. I want to show you with my two guitars now how it sounds when you have everything set up and how you can use it. Let's try guitar A first. I have it switched to the green channel right here. And first of all, I need to tune. That's the boring part, but it shows you how that works. Right now I have the Red Garden reverb running. You can hear that one. Here's just a dry signal. And let's add the Strymon Capistan delay. So setting up a stereo rig like this, it just sounds so nice and lush, and you really get the best out of your pedals, in my opinion. Let's try to add the bore fuzz into the signal. And by the way, the A channel is boosted a tiny bit with the preamp to even out my Les Paul. So let's try to turn that one down. It can give you up to 25 dB with the boost. So quite a lot there if you need it. Let's try to see how it sounds with guitar B, which is a Les Paul. And let's see if we can match the channels. Sounds quite even. Let's try with the JHS AT Plus for some distortion. To me, that sounds just insanely cool. I'm kind of like blown away by the whole stereo thing, and this tool is very handy when doing that. I always seen guitar as a mono instrument, but this is a lot of fun. Let's check out the one for acoustic guitar. Let's go. And we are back with the acoustic version. By the way, this looks kind of messy with the cables, but if you have the right type of cables, you can make it look very neat, so keep that in mind. It's a bit different from the electric version. You can still plug in two guitars, but one electric guitar this time and one acoustic. This is the acoustic out going into the DI. You can also do stereo with this one. I'm doing just one amp now because I only have two channels on my interface, but just as the electric version, you can do stereo out for the electric with this one, so keep that in mind also. You have a preamp for the electric guitar. You can turn that off and on right here. This controls the first loop. You have some different loops here as well. You can have it to affect only the electric part of the signal, or you can press this and then you share them. The second loop, or the drive loop, is meant for effects that you don't want to use on an acoustic. You might want to use a drive for an acoustic. Some do, but most people don't. So that's why I plugged my distortion pedal into the drive loop. And then you have the last loop, which is also shared between acoustic and electric. And that's where I'm running my reverb and my delay. You also have ground lift on this one and a phase switcher. You choose between green, which is electric, and red, which is acoustic. If you're doing stereo amps, you can mute each of them if you want to do that, and you can do dual mono also on the two amps. I think that covers it. Let's see how we can get things to sound with this very pedal. So we're on green, electric guitar. Let's see how it sounds in mono. Compressor off. Compressor on again. And as you can see, the drive isn't affecting the signal at all. So you can keep it on if you want when you're switching back to the electric. Both these pedals hold up to their name very well in my opinion, especially if you are gigging a lot, you have a bigger and more complex pedal board, you're running stereo. I would say that you definitely need something like this. Just like tiny problems like having different outputs, volumes from different guitars can be fixed with the preamp knobs here. That's a simple thing, but it's very, very useful. I like just a tiny detail to have a tuner out. I prefer to have my tuner on because I play lap steel, and sometimes it's good to check the pitch whilst playing. And that's not something you can do with most tuners. They usually mute themselves when you turn them on, but here you can leave it on all the time. Just use the tuner out and it will send your signal to the tuner. Also, the one built for acoustic is very helpful. If you are interested, visit the Ohmless pedals website. I linked that down below. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.